All right, guys, definitely getting into a new topic today. But I don't know if it's just me because, man, I swear I'm not. I don't hear nobody complaining like me. But that's obviously kind of hard to do because I do have a loud mouth, so I do kind of understand. But at the end of the day, guys, I don't understand why we don't have riots on the streets about these prices going on. All right, inflation is out of control. We are not at a 3.5% inflation. Okay, people really need to understand. We really need to understand how they are basing inflation. Okay, and what that means. We saw highs in inflation in 2022 that we haven't seen since the 1980s. And they're trying to say, oh, inflation this year is at 3.5%. No, no, no. That means it's 3.5% higher than the previous year where we had highs that we've never seen before. So it hasn't come down, guys. It hasn't even stayed level. Okay? It's still increasing by 3.5%. So we really just got to get into this. Really got to see what the hell's going on because I'm feeling it. And if I'm feeling it and I'm making more than $50,000 a year, like everybody else has to be struggling. Okay, we really need to wake up on this. We really do. So we're gonna get into it, guys. But hey, happy Friday! Welcome to Get Into the Facts. I'm your host Andrew Curiel, and we're gonna get today started right and put us in a good spot going into the weekend. All right, guys, and hopefully we have a little bit of money to spend over the weekend and enjoy ourselves a little bit. All right, but we're gonna hop into this first story here. Let me see. All right. So, based on Google, and this is the United States Department of Agriculture, okay, it's a .gov website. The Alt Items Consumer Price Index, the CPI, a measure of economy-wide inflation, rose by 0.4% from July 2023 to August 2023 and was up 3.7% from August of 2022. The CPI for all food increased 0.2% from July 2023 to August 2023, and food prices were 4.3% higher than in August of 2022. Now, like I was saying, guys, it's 3.7% higher from August of 2022. Okay, it's up, and it was up 3.7% from August of 2022. So let's go over here on this next one. This again is from the U.S. Inflation Calculator. In 2022, the average inflation was 8%. These average rates are published by the BLS but are rarely discussed in the news media, taking a backseat to the actual rate of inflation for a given calendar year. Guys, 8%. That means if it rose 3.7 from August of 2022, we're over 12% interest. Or not interest, 12% on inflation overall. Now, I still think that's low, depending on how you're actually calculating inflation, okay? But the prices that we have been seeing, that is what really, that's really what shows the average person what the cost of living is, and what inflation really is at. Really is at. And when we go to these grocery stores, we're not seeing an 8%, 10%, we're not even seeing a 12% increase to these prices. It is a 40 to 50% increase on prices at all times, guys. And I don't know about you, okay? I have a Great Dane, all right? Zara, got to shout out my girl Zara. We got a little Chihuahua too, but she don't cost money when it comes to food. She's pretty cheap, okay? But my Great Dane, I buy a 30-pound bag of dog food. And I just looked for a Nutro, bag of Nutro. I was paying $75, $77 on Amazon. I'm like, man, that is so much higher than what I remember paying. And so I went back in my order details. I looked at my order details and found when I purchased it back in January of 2022, okay, right before inflation started getting really huge, okay, I paid $55 for the same bag. If it rose up to $75 to $78 for the same bag, that is a 35 to 40% increase. 35 to 40% increase, guys. Like, God, and that's just dog food, all right? So it is just absolutely crazy to me how the prices have gone. And, they've done such a good job on getting the average American to have a memory of a freaking goldfish. Okay. Nobody's complaining about this. And especially when it comes to like gas prices too. Like when we were in the Great Recession, okay, I was a freshman in high school in 2008, 2007, 2008. Okay. Right when all the prices were going chaotic. And I remember seeing the gas prices. And I even looked it up, which I got this article we're going to go into on the gas prices back then compared to now too. And based on inflation and all that. But guys, even at the worst, Chevron, which Chevron's usually the most expensive place to get gas, at Chevron, the highest that I saw in 2007, 2008 was $4.17 a gallon. That's basically our average, it seems like, at least in Arizona. That's what the average has been for the entire year. All right. Our national average is higher than any other time in 2007, 2008. And that's including increasing whatever the cost was back then due to inflation. So bringing it up to 2023 inflation levels. This is higher by about 3 to 4 cents than at any other time in the 2007, 2008 Great Recession time. Okay. Which was the highest that prices have gotten since the 1980s until now. Now is the craziest inflation has gotten since the 1980s. So it's just absolutely crazy to me, guys. And we really got to pay attention to it. And we just got to be aware of it. Okay. Because if we're not aware of it now, then you're going to run out of money quicker than you would have before because you're going to get caught off guard. Okay. And I don't want any average person to be caught off guard. It seems like the news outlets and all the news media, they're just trying to play it off. Inflation's coming down. Inflation's coming down. No, it is not. It's just not increasing at an 8% year over year clip like it did in 2022. It's still increasing by 3.5%, which is 1.5% higher than what the Federal Reserve even wants it at. The Federal Reserve's goal, guys, and you can Google this, the Federal Reserve's goal is to have inflation at 2%, which means they expect prices to keep going up 2% year over year over year over year. So when we're hoping prices are going to come down, they're not going to come down. Okay. It's just, we're hoping it's not going to increase as much. But the thing is, guys, is the inflation increase already happened. Now the best they can do is just bring the rate of increase inflation back down to 2%, which they have not been able to do yet. Okay. And that is super concerning because things are getting way too expensive. Way too expensive. Like I'm making good money, guys. I mean, I'm not making six figures anymore. I mean, I was before all this craziness in the insurance industry, but I'm making a solid 70, 75 right now, probably about 70, 75. And I'm paycheck to paycheck with my bills. Okay. I know I'm not the only one. And I'm good with money. Okay. I got money in my savings. I'm paycheck to paycheck because I'm not trying to touch my savings. Okay. Because Lord knows we're going to need our savings if something happens, which nobody has a savings anymore, according to multiple articles that I've read. All right. So we're going to get into this here. We got this little clip that I saw, this little reel that I saw on Instagram. And it's really just showing this guy going through Costco, and he's showing what the prices now are at the Costco for the same exact product. And he shows a picture, a little clip right above it of what the prices were a year ago when he bought the same exact thing. All right. So we're going to watch this just so we have a real idea on how crazy everything's getting. All right. So let's see what we got here.
For example, these Madras lentils, $15.99. I bought those a year ago for $6.99. I keep getting told that we got, 6-7% inflation. You gotta be kidding me. Let's look at what else we got going on here. We literally bought this chicken broth, $5.69, 2 months ago. Dang, this is the flour we were buying for $5.99 last year.
The government has its own math that they manipulate in a dodgy way.
So I'm walking around Costco.
I mean, guys, I know it wasn't a long clip, but that is just insane. I mean, that it's showing a 40 to 50% increase. And you don't even have to go based on that video. Just go to the grocery store yourself. If you can look back, if you got an Amazon account, look at your Amazon account, guys. Look at your Amazon account. Go back a year or a year and a half ago, okay? January to March of 2022, and see how much you were paying for the same exact thing that you would have to buy now. I guarantee you everything is at the very minimum 30% higher. At least 30% higher. So where the hell do they get 7 to 8% inflation? You know what I mean? Like, it makes absolutely no sense to me, guys. Makes absolutely no sense. And when we go to the gas prices too, I got this here, and this is on AAA, thegasprices.aaa.com. And these are just for Arizona, okay? I'm in Arizona. A lot of people I know that are subscribed to the channel are in Arizona, so I try to base things off of Arizona when I look at inflation numbers. But the current average in Arizona right now is $4.25 per gallon, okay? Round up, $4.26 a gallon. The average in Arizona. The national average is still $3.57 a gallon, all right? Now, we go over here, and this is on energy.gov. This is a .gov website, all right? This shows the average, and I'll scroll all the way up so you can see, the average annual retail prices of gasoline from 1929 to 2011. And it's got gasoline price, which is the current dollars in that year, and then it shows in the other column gasoline price constant to 2011 dollars. So basing it off the inflation as of 2011, okay? And this is just absolutely insane, guys. Look at this. 2008, based on inflation, okay, and this is off 2011, all right, it was $3.41 average, all right? And even in 2011, it got up to the highest it was since 2008 for a little bit. And the national average, and this is based off the national average, not just Arizona, it was at $3.53 a gallon. So even now, even right now, based on everything, this is higher than at any other point that we've had when it comes to gas. I mean, and we're getting murdered in Arizona. I mean, guys, I don't know if you remember, but gas got up to like $4.50 a gallon for a bit. Okay. Like, we haven't seen gas stay under $4 a gallon. And if you're not going to Costco or Sam's Club, you really aren't even getting close to $4 a gallon. Okay. But we haven't seen it under $4 a gallon in well over a year. At least, at the very minimum, well over a year. I mean, are we just going to keep going with this? Are we just going to keep just going about it like, oh yeah, it sucks, but what are we going to do? No, we have to start electing people that are going to do what's best for the United States citizens. Let's stop worrying about Ukraine. Stop worrying about everything else. We have too many problems here in the United States. And I think the people in power, and this is my own personal opinion, I have no facts to back this up, okay? But my own personal opinion is that this is what they want. They are trying to get the average person to have absolutely no financial freedom. Because when people don't have financial freedom, they allow the government to take control of things that they would have never given them control if they had the money. They just wouldn't. They just wouldn't. I mean, guys, if you look at the welfare system, if you look at people on welfare, people that get on welfare hardly ever get off of it. And it's because there's no incentive to get off of it. And it's very hard to get off of it because the moment you make $2,000 more than what the government says that you can make to qualify for welfare, you make an extra $2,000 over that mark, boom, your welfare goes away. And now that extra $2,000 is doing absolutely nothing. So there's absolutely no incentive to do that. And that is exactly what they're going to make of the entire nation. If we let it, they're going to make the entire country a welfare state. And the government will have absolutely 100% control over everything, which they already have about 75% control over your entire life. Are we going to protect that extra 25% and try to get a little bit of that back? We have to. I mean, guys, I'm too young. I'm too young to just roll with these punches. Okay? I understand why 50, 55, 60-year-olds are okay with this. I mean, not even okay with it. They're not okay with it, but they're just like, man, this is bad right now, you know? But they're not going to do nothing. They're not going to get upset about it. They're already old. They're already old. By the time this stuff really, really hits the fan, they're going to be 70, 75. They already owned a couple of houses. They got some assets. They got money in the bank. Fine. But the people our age, the 30, 35, 25-year-olds, 20-year-olds, we will be absolutely screwed if we do not start waking the hell up and being vocal about what the hell's going on, guys. I mean, it's just... To me, it's just very, very concerning. This is very concerning. I mean, I thought the prices that we saw in 2008 with gas was the highest we would ever see. And man, was I wrong. Man, was I wrong. So, I don't know, guys. I know I'm feeling the stress of it. I know a lot of other people are feeling the stress a lot more than I am. So, I just wanted to make sure we are aware of it and we just stay awake to the bullshit that is going on. And again, I know I say this a lot, but we need to start voting the right way. And that's not voting left or right. Okay. That is voting for populist politicians, the people that actually care about voting for what's right for United States citizens. That's all. I mean, that's all we should ever do. Why are we voting these politicians just because? Do we really not know that much about politics to where we're just voting for a name that you remember? Like, oh yeah, I know the name Pelosi. Let me just write that down. Like, what is this? You know? But again, guys, I don't know if you remember, but 2019, 2020, we had the lowest gas we ever had. And I know people don't like Trump, okay? But you had a lot more money in your pocket and you had a lot more freedom to say F Donald Trump. You had a lot more freedom to say that because you had more money. Like, screw this guy. I got money. What is it? I got a job. I'm cool. I'm cool with it. Guys, this is, it's just concerning. All right.